Said you were gonna. I don't ever sign those until after the sure thing.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
I learned that from the museum.
Just so everybody knows, the video is running now, but it will, this part will be trimmed off. So everybody knows.
And speak for you.
If we can figure out how to
Want me to put my hat
trim
on then?
it. What's that?
Do I put my hat on so the shine doesn't distort it?
Where is it?
Secret squirrel stuff.
It's super hidden.
Is it really?
I thought it was missing.
It's sitting up on the shelf there.
Oh, okay.
We'll give it a try, see how it works.
Wasn't gonna say anything I didn't want anybody to hear anyways. so,
Exactly, but-
You know.
Sounds like we're gonna be assured of snow removal for the state, right? They got $400,000 extra dollars to play with.
I need to call, huh?
So a guaranteed no snow?
No, it was a surplus from last year, so, you know, maybe we'll have more. Well, I've never complained about it, because they've done an excellent job out here. The state has. But at least out here, they kind of know about something, so, out in Hinterland.
Who's home with the kids?
Well, I took him to daycare quick, but then I'm gonna pick him up and take him to school. So,
Okay.
we'll see.
You don't have to stay for the whole meeting, just when you,
Okay.
And you're up top, so.
Sweet. Jake did today at the school, but
What's that?
he was
This one's
crying.
the
He
same.
said, I wanna go to school.
That trip
I
is
said,
just small.
he's gotta go to daycare for just a little bit.
The bullet.
It's a school day, I know.
It's just the trip.
I won't forget you, I promise.
What grade?
He's 3, he's in preschool.
Oh,
I think that clock's off.
Well, my cell phone says 7:29.
I didn't hear it. It says it?
Yes.
Okay. So
I've got those two cell phones. They're a minute apart. I got one that says 7:28, and the other one says 7:29. How does that happen?
One Verizon, one AT&T.
Oh,
No,
No, both for Verizon.
the city one
Is Verizon.
is Verizon, 7:29. My own Verizon, 7:30.
Yep, mine says 7:32. Okay, so Belfouche Police Committee meeting on November 12th at 7:30, Belfouche Police Department. Motion to adopt the agenda.
motion shoulder.
second, Rich.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Chief's report?
Chief's report. Good news, tomorrow, Dylan Getch and Ryan Grams will be graduating from the academy. And they will be back here to work on Monday, which is very, very good news for us. It's very nice with those two being gone, that's 20% of our department gone, so that's, very excited to have them back. For good things on Ryan Grams, and I've heard excellent things on Dylan Getch, which is what we expected, so. Very excited to have them back, and moving in the right direction there. We're getting two good officers back, so we're excited to see that. I will be going out for graduation. I think there's a pretty good chance that Dylan will get the, come on in, guys.
Is meeting started?
Yeah. You're late.
Marty went to get some extra agendas, so. There is a chance that Dylan might win the Kohler Williams Award, which is the best person coming out of the academy. I think he's got a chance at it. If he does, I would like to be there, so I'll be headed out first thing in the morning and coming back tomorrow, so. Budget, we are running well under where we're supposed to be. We're about 10% under budget for where we should be for this time of year. We'll be looking at spending a small portion on that on some different equipment items, just saving up for next year, but replacing some body cameras and some tasers and some things that may not be budgeted, but it's better to do it in intervals rather than having, we had to replace all 10 of our tasers or 12 of our tasers at once. They're $1,000 a piece. We replace a couple every once in a while when we have extra money. Seems to be the better plan rather than doing big expenditures all at one time. So there will be a few expenses you'll see coming through, just for different equipment items, just to keep us updated. The other one is body cameras. Hopefully purchase a few of those before the end of the year, as a few of ours are they're starting to get aged out, so we'll start replacing them slowly so that we don't have to do it all at once and wonder where that money's gonna come from. Getting excited, code enforcement is getting closer. I think the three of you are all on legal and finance, so you've gotta see the job description, so, but that was my update. The job description is moving forward, and haven't had a lot of feedback on it, so hopefully at the next legal and finance, it'll go through there and kind of have a plan in place. Talked to the mayor yesterday, really getting some good processes figured out, making sure that this is done right so that we are being 100% fair with the citizens, but that goes both ways, fair with the people that need to come into compliance with the ordinance, but also fair to the neighbors, and so it's getting that all figured out so the process is fair for everybody. So hopefully we get that done before the first of the year, so when that person comes on board right after the first, the expectations will be laid out for them, laid out for the citizens, and we can move forward in a positive way with this to get our city cleaned up a little bit and fall within the ordinances a little better. Next thing, I'm sure many of you that are here have noticed it, but did want to mention it. We have seen meth use on the rise. We are aware of it. We are working on it very diligently between us and DCI. So if you do ever see any information or see anything suspicious that would fall under those things, please give us a call. And that's for everybody, you know, if you see somebody else suspicious or that is not acting normal. We've seen some pretty bad meth that's causing some problems. Please give us a call if you see any of that so that we can address it right away. And again, so it's getting the people the help that need the help and finding the people that are destroying our community also, and being able to do what we need to do there. So that's all I've got for my chief's report.
Okay, number 3 is discussion on police committee meeting times. Anybody have any input? I know that the community is wanting later in the day times, not early in the morning.
I am aware of that. Thursday afternoons don't work for me, so I don't know. I am open, but I know that Thursday afternoons are the one day that really aren't good for me. And I know that Mondays are fairly full, so I don't know what our other people are thinking, but
Yeah, that's something I think we're all gonna have to sit down and discuss, because Thursdays, depends on part of the month, Thursdays aren't good for me, and Wednesdays aren't good. So,
we're on the discussion in the meantime.
Oh. So what's being proposed?
Nothing has been proposed
all
yet.
good.
I know that we did noons before, and noons are really, really hard for those that work a normal job. It's tough to commit to the noon thing. It's a little difficult for me. I mean, we can make it work, but I know that afternoons don't work.
Do you have any input?
No, I can move my schedule so it works for me.
Stephen? Well, I think we need to give it some serious thought. That's what the people want, and we have to at least consider it. Because they want all the morning meetings changed, don't they? Is that what I
They'd like
understand?
Well, I know I can't, because I work, so,
Yeah, so do I.
and that's your issue, and mornings are better for me to make it work, and I don't know. So that's gonna be tough.
I like mornings
Yeah,
better, that way when you get started on something, you don't have to give up on it.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, because a lot of times even though you have meetings scheduled and you're trying to leave work, you don't always.
Or
get
later in the
there.
afternoon or something like that.
So,
All right, well, I think we should still consider doing something. I'm not sure what that is, but
But you guys can all look at your schedule and see what works well for you, and again, Thursday's the only afternoon that doesn't work for me, so whatever you guys come up with after that. The morning's working, I'm not a big morning person, but one day a month I can tend to survive.
you think 7:30 is early? I don't think it's early.
okay, number 4 is discussion on 2102 7th Avenue traffic safety. I have Dr. Heidi Nash here, who's the resident that lives there, that has had 2 drunk people drive through her property in the last, what's it been, 5 years?
I think 8 years is the first for the house and then the garage, last month.
We're open to suggestions. I have talked to Ryan about it a little bit and Dirk about it a little bit. A couple of simple things that we can try. Again, when you're dealing with people that are intoxicated, it's fairly tough to do anything that guarantees that they won't end up in your yard again. But a curve ahead sign and possibly an arrow sign are the first 2 simple, inexpensive solutions we came up with. We discussed at police committee once doing a Jersey barrier along your property line, which they aren't attractive. And, you know, this is your home that you still have to enjoy pulling up to and finding beauty in it, so that's also a consideration. That, and for us to put a Jersey barrier on your property would give us a fairly healthy liability if somebody were to hit it head on and injure themselves. So that would be a consideration that we would have to take seriously. The best suggestion that I've heard, and it's a fairly expensive solution, is actually put in a roundabout into that intersection. Would put a positive concrete barrier in the middle of the intersection, which would deflect people either way from, but unfortunately the cost of one of those is about $150,000, so it's not a cheap fix, but it is, I think, what would be the most attractive and safest solution. But do you guys have any solutions, anything? Because I think we're open to any suggestion at this point.
I mean, I don't know, we could, I mean, I know we had said something about, well, we could do those continuation of those rocks for now, you know, just at least to, I don't know. Like you had said, you know, it might make it worse if someone ran into it, but I don't know. I mean, when I heard that car coming, I was in that room like that had been run into before. I thought, oh gosh, I hope those rocks work. I mean, it was a, and then it's like, I just heard these squeals. I thought, oh my gosh. And then nothing, and then I heard it plow into the garage. So I thought, oh my gosh, you know, thank goodness. Hopefully those rocks work. So I'm glad we haven't had to try it out, but.
Well, we certainly need to find a solution. I mean, because your kids play in that yard, your dogs live in that yard, and, you know, this was fairly early in the day.
Right.
It wasn't late at night. So we certainly need to come up with some sort of solution rather quickly. The other thought would be finding some bigger trees to plant along that area there that would give a better positive barrier on that section, you know.
Right.
The rocks in front of your house, I think, will probably, again, you never know what kind of vehicle it is or how fast they're coming, so it's tough to say exactly. Up to 40 miles an hour, I would say those rocks are gonna work pretty good by the time you go through a tree and a rock. So that might be something to consider too, is if we could find some larger trees that could be transplanted in there.
But this last incident, the guy was going 60+ miles an hour.
And we had actually talked about putting trees there too, you know, I mean, just because it is so high traffic, you know, at least, you know, it would give some protection, but then also, you know, I don't know, some privacy or something too, but, my husband had said that too, like, let's maybe put trees there, and so.
A decent sized tree is a lot of barrier, but to get a decent sized, you know, talking a big tree, it takes a long time to get to that point, so. Sometimes people are moving trees, we can certainly put our feelers out, see if anybody wants to move some bigger, you know, trees, and then clear it with you, of course, and see
Right.
what you guys would think on that.
One thing, Scott, with a roundabout, I used to live in Massachusetts and they have tons of them. More head-on collisions.
It would be a learning curve for
It-
the city of Bellevue to put
And I'll
that
tell
out.
you, they've been there for as long as I can remember. And they're head-on collisions once a week on those things.
The true traffic studies, the studies I've seen on them, they're actually one of the safest ways to do an intersection.
Really?
Because there is a positive barrier. That's what's coming out of Colorado, who's using a lot of them.
Wow.
They're starting to become more prevalent.
Because it's a smoother, simpler transformation, especially a single lane. It's when you get into dual and triple lane roundabouts that you start
Yeah,
to have
that's-
problems.
Those are the ones I'm used to, and
Yeah.
every day is, well, at least once a week there's a head-on on the roundabouts down there.
It is when you get into multiple lanes. A single lane, it's not too bad. Especially this intersection, be fairly safe, because the majority of it, rarely is traffic going straight, because really your only option is to go straight on Ridgeview, but that's very limited traffic. Most
All right.
traffic merges, turns right, or is going left. So it's just putting a
All right.
positive barrier in the corner between those two. And it is a tight intersection anyways. By the time you park cars on both sides of the street, it's fairly tight through there, so.
Cause he's, like, his car was parked there too, and his car's been ran into by a driver too. And then the post that's right there outside of it, I think her neighbor said it's been hit 5 times by a drunk driver or just idiots. I don't know, people running into it. So the post like sits this way now, there's been hit so many times.
Simple, just gotta get rid of drunk drivers.
And the grade presents a little bit of a challenge too, that it's a strange grade the way it rolls through there, that
It forces you out.
it does.
And I'm Ken Martell, Heidi's dad, and of course I'm there a lot with the kids and stuff. And over the 3 years I've been watching, babysitting, traffic moves too fast through there. And I've even said some of the buses in the morning move too fast through there. Now, I looked again this morning when I come down here, I come in from the south, stopped at the stop sign. Somebody come around, a lady in her van come around the corner. She was in a hurry. And so she was floating too fast through there. One suggestion is, I think, looking at the street coming down from the east, down to that area, because we got a stop sign from the north, up from the south going north.
Yep.
We should have a stop sign on that one coming down the north, or from the east, to get into there. Because they don't slow down if they're rolling through there. But we have, I see probably less speed from there, to be honest, than I do from the other direction.
Yeah, the traffic on 8, that's the true traffic, and it's definitely moving fast. I'm with you, because I live up there too, and I drive through there every day, and that's what I see, is the traffic coming down Ridgeview usually isn't moving that fast as the people taking the 7th, 8th corridor there.
And I think that in itself, sure, a speed sign would help normally in there.
Yeah.
And accent that, I know, I've seen some areas where they've even got lights on the speed sign. Say, hey, you gotta be, this is what the speed is, and shut it down, and I know the comment was made, talking to the mayor the other day, that, well, that street was not designed, that area wasn't designed or for residential at the time the street was put together.
Yeah, that's what the assistant engineer had told you, yeah.
And that's, to me, regardless of why that was done that
Yeah.
way, because there was no, probably long-term planning is probably the case. But that's neither here nor there. We gotta deal with today. In that situation, the street is there, so you still have to shut the traffic down somehow. You know, I guess trying a sign maybe, you know, on the one, it's to catch that before they enter and start floating out into the property on that curve. to shut them down.
You get with Ryan and kind of come up with some, because this is the second time we've visited about it, so we obviously need to do something.
We'll give it,
Have a recommendation.
I'm hoping to get with Dirk today,
Okay.
and then Ryan again next week, but Dirk today, and see what we can come up with for, you know, if signage is gonna solve some of the problem, I think it will. It's not gonna stop, signs aren't gonna stop the drunk drivers.
No, we realize that.
But if
It's
it
just-
can take care of 98% of the traffic, or 99% of the traffic, at least that's a good starting place.
And there's a lot of parents with little kids there, a lot of strollers and stuff like that. You know, they're crossing the street, they look and nothing's coming, but by the time they get out there in the street, in the middle of the street, they're swinging right around that curve.
Well, that's all young families, I mean, between
Yeah.
the two apartment buildings and you guys, that whole section is all young families, so we certainly do need to
You know,
figure out
so-
how to slow it down. And
Well, and the building is continuing.
Yeah,
Yes.
those
You know, it
houses
isn't,
that are building.
yeah, it's not stopping, so.
Yeah.
It, look, I have no answers, but I mean, I think that's a start, possibly.
The sign, you're saying is
A stop sign there to stop the east traffic coming into it, they have to start from scratch.
Okay.
They don't need to be rolling in there when everybody else is trying to move in there anyway.
that stop sign probably is needed, and then when we do the curve ahead sign, maybe we will look at getting some sort of a small LED on it or something to give it alternate flashing, so that at least people, it makes people more aware and cognizant of
Now,
slowing down.
I've seen, now, is that here where they've got a speed sign,
We have a speed trailer,
a trailer, that has your, when you get there, if you're over speed, your
It
red and your
flashes at
blue
you.
shows up.
that Spearfish has the red and blue showing up.
Now, something, not that, it might be a good thing to put there, just for a teaching tool for the time being, but I think something of that order on a permanent basis, maybe. It can be done, if you looked at, is there anything available in just a regular post, a sign on a post that's got the same
Well, I've got it
capabilities?
mounted on a trailer right now that hopefully we won't have mounted on a trailer much longer. That is a possibility to look at something along those lines, but I'll have to talk to, it's all Dirk's budget, so that's, I'll talk to Dirk about that with Public Works, but
So we'll probably, this could come through Public Works and as far as a recommendation, so
yeah,
that we.
it would come through Public
Okay.
Works, because it'll be there.
So that might
their expense.
help speed it up a little bit more versus waiting for our next police committee meeting.
Well, you know, you're working at it, that's,
Yeah.
that's a big thing right there, so.
So,
The next Public Works meeting is a week and a half though, it'll be a week from Monday.
yeah, but it would give you time to work on it, maybe have
Give
a
us
recommendation.
Time, so
Okay.
maybe look at coming to that next Public Works meeting also.
Mhm.
I'll work with it on Dirk today and see what we can come up with.
Okay.
At least starting to get some solutions for you.
Another thing that we had talked about, when we were out there was, parking on that, north side of that street too, which would be just right across from you. You know, where I had told you,
Mhm.
because I had traveled that kind of consistently, where that whole, and I think that's what creates also that moving to the side, is that whole thing is all parking.
They're too tight to the curve.
Yeah,
More,
I mean, and it even goes around the curve.
Right.
Mhm.
so I would, that was a thought too, and it was
No parking.
paint the orange paint. You know,
Or a portion of it.
where you can't lengthen that out another, take away, you're gonna lose a couple cars, but it's too sad, I mean, Barker's building, he doesn't have enough parking.
And that's the problem, is without enough parking for his building. We can certainly look at that too, of taking out one, maybe two more parking spots, or at least one,
Yeah,
to open up the sight line a little better. Because it's a terrible corner for getting corner cut too, if you're going southbound, when you go around that, because I live up there, I drive it every day, it's easy to take that corner way too tight.
I drive that every day too, and I used to live in that apartment building, and, you know, if there's another car coming that way, you can't even fit two cars through that lane because the parking on both sides of the street is so tight. And the problem with the apartment building is each apartment has one assigned parking spot, well, who has one car, you know?
Oh, okay.
The actual dual parking and slowing the traffic down, that's one of the best natural slowdowns we have, because it is so tight, cars automatically slow down to go past each other. So part of that is a good thing, that it is gonna slow traffic, because it's so narrow, people automatically slow down for that, so. It's, But
I
the
think-
visibility side of it,
What about if you sat there in your car and just watched the busy time, like before school and after, probably
Right
before
after.
school, because you've got mothers coming from South Park to the middle school and they're hauling the mail.
I did it about a month ago, I sat there after school, and there's certainly a problem. I stopped a couple people. And so,
Like this super highway from the elementary to the middle school.
Uh-huh.
and that's what it
Because
is.
it's
It
a
was
cut
never
across.
meant to be the main corridor, and it ended up being the main corridor as they expanded to Eighth Avenue, so. But,
Just give me your, radar, I'll sit in the window of the house.
that's fine. If you think you'll slow them down, I'll.
No, I'm not slow, but you'll see what the traffic,
Okay.
how they kick around the corner, you know.
Yeah.
You can do that when you're sitting there, but I know you don't, you can't spend every day and all day there.
Yeah.
And-
Well, we need to try some things, so we need to get started on it, I think, and
Yep,
keep working, so.
Thank you.
we'll get going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for calling also on that other issue that we talked about.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
And yes, we're done with you.
See, you're gonna make it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah,
We'll see
I
you.
didn't make it.
We'll see
I
you.
thought you would aim at another.
Okay, number 5, motion, recommended hiring Ryan Shervaney for full-time position as police officer with Bellevue Police Department beginning November 17th. The pay for Shervaney's position will be $14.47 per hour. This is a grade 10, step 1 on the city of Bellevue's pay scale. Do I have a motion?
Motion Wagner.
Second, Schoben.
Discussion?
Ryan is the top candidate out of our last hiring process. He's actually been the top candidate out of our last couple of hiring processes. He's, I'm excited for this one. Good family guy, good ties to Bellevue. Doesn't have police experience, but he's been a jailer for 12 years or something like that, so he's got experience in the field at least. Just a nice guy, so very excited to have him come on board.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Number 6, recommendation from Mayor Lampier to sign a letter to State of South Dakota requesting that a speed study be conducted for the following areas: South Dakota Highway 212 East, 5th Avenue to Bellevue River, and also South Dakota Highway 85 from the south border to the north border. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second Wagner.
Discussion?
Do you have that petition?
I do not have the petition. I've seen the petition. It went to the engineer's office.
Mhm.
So he has it, asked that I would run it through this committee. And I am all for this letter. There's a couple minor issues where the petition is. The signs aren't directly across from each other. They are close. That's one of the issues, but also they'd like to see the speed limit slowed down further, you know, getting closer to the bridge, which, again, traffic is increasing everywhere in town, and I am in favor of the state at least looking at it and seeing what needs to be done through that section to get that cleaned up. My bigger one is Highway 85 from city limit to city limit for more consistent speed limits. And especially on the south end, reducing that speed limit out a little bit further, at least to include Ellis Trips building. And then something consistent through, you know, whether we go to 40 and then slow it down. I'd like to see the speed limit slow down on the other side of National, so that our main part of downtown is a consistent speed limit, rather than having a speed limit change in that section of town. Just it isn't safe because of the amount of traffic. It's easy to miss the speed limit sign, so then you have a high difference in speed and just a better consistent speed limit. So well, he asked me to run it through. I am all in favor of speed studies on 85 and 212 both.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. 7, recommendation to enter into a contract with Verizon Wireless for police department cell phones. Do I have a motion?
Motion Wagner.
Second, Schoben.
Discussion?
This is a budgeted item for next year. As I was talking about with the surplus of money we have, this would allow us to get our phones purchased under this year's budget, which just helps next year's budget is kind of the thought process I had here. I know a lot of my guys are holding out and their phones are broken and they're waiting to get new phones for the city to do it, so we're pretty close to the end of the year, I thought it'd just be a good time to go ahead and jump on board and get going.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Recommendation to change the speed sign, message speed sign from All Traffic Solutions. The cost of speed sign is $8,873 and cost of message sign is $14,303. The shipping of these items includes the cost. The total purchase amount will be $23,176.
There is a correction to this. The first sign is gonna be 7,850, not 8,873.
7,000 what?
850.
Do I have a motion?
I move with the adjusted rate to 7,850.
Discussion?
It's in this year's
Well,
budget.
you're over here doing this, I don't know if you're seconding or what are you doing?
No, I was writing.
Okay,
How do
discussion?
we arrive at 23,176? Cost of speed sign is 7,850, the messy sign, is that all one sign?
It's two separate speed, what these are speed trailers.
Oh, okay.
And the 7,850 is just a normal speed trailer like you've seen
Right.
south of town here. The county has one, Spearfish has a couple. It would replace the trailer that we have now that we call a speed trailer that is very loosely termed a speed trailer. It works and it's nice to have. What this does though, and what they're all doing now is, this one has all sorts of stuff. It has a full traffic counter on it, so it'll give us all the information for all the traffic. Has full data for all the speed, giving top speed, average speed, time of day speed. This particular trailer also has a camera on it, so we'll take a picture of, you set the threshold, it'll take a picture of the vehicle. It has a theft proof on it. It'll start taking pictures if it gets tampered with the GPS system in it. The first year on these, you have to purchase it, gives you, so it's all wireless and it's everything. The second year, we would do away with that, you actually have to pull up to the trailer to download all the data. But again, the data is really what I want on top of being a good speed trailer. Being able to do some traffic studies and know, you know, we get complaints of vehicles traveling this speed here, well, what is the speed? How much time do we need to do it as we move it around town so that the officers can, well, we need a patrol everywhere, can concentrate more on speed areas here and there as the data comes in.
The
So the
20,
total should, yeah,
the total should be 21,000, right?
No,
22,153.
That is
so
the
I'll
total.
have to adjust those amounts. Okay, I would say with the adjusted, that's why I said with the adjusted amounts, so.
What do we